Hello everyone, welcome to Data Engineers Academy. In today's video, we are going to learn about the IAM and ACL execution process in Google Cloud Platform. We will understand the difference between the IAM and ACL, see how permissions are configured, and most importantly, we will perform the actual execution using the Google Cloud CLI and Google Cloud Console. Now let's start it. Before moving to the practical part, let's quickly look at today's agenda. First, we will prepare our environment and check the prerequisites. Next, we will understand the difference between the IAM and ACL and their execution flow. Then we will look at IAM and execution through the Google Cloud Console and G Cloud CLI, followed by IAM verification. After that, we will move to ACL execution and verification, look at common execution errors and fixes, and finally discuss some best practices and key takeaways. So this is the today's agenda. Before executing any IAM or ACL changes, we need to make sure our environment is ready. We need an active Google Cloud project with billing enabled, Cloud Storage API enabled. We also need the Cloud SDK installed, which provides tools such as Google Cloud and Google Cloud Util. We can install them locally or use Cloud Shell directly from the browser. We also need sufficient IAM permissions to grant access to other users. Finally, we use a test bucket and an object so that we can safely perform and verify our permission changes. Before starting the practical execution, I will also verify that I am logged into the correct Google Cloud account and project. Let's move into the Google Cloud Console. I am now inside the Google Cloud Console and select project name, that is my first project. So I will select that. After selecting the project, here we can see the list of buckets available in the Google Cloud project. Now I will select the bucket that I want to work with. So the bucket name is new bucket. As you can see, the bucket contains files with their name, sizes, storage classes and creation details. Let's start with IAM using the Google Cloud Console. I will open IAM and admin IAM. Here I will select grant access and enter the principal that I want to give access to. Next, I will select the appropriate role for this demonstration. I will use the storage object viewer role. After selecting the role, I will click save. This creates IAM binding and grants the selected permission to the principal. Once the change is saved, I will verify the IAM table to make sure the principal and role appear correctly. Now do the practical execution. For that, moving to the Google Cloud Console. Before we continue with the practical execution, I want to prove that right now nobody else can see this file. So I will open a new window. This gives me a clean separate browser session with no saved logins. In this window, I am signing in as my test account. This represents someone else who has no access to my project. This account has never been granted anything on this bucket yet. Here I will enter my new email ID, that is pravalika.testuser. Then click next. Here we enter the password. After creating the password, click next. I am now signed in as the test account, completely separate from my main Google account. You can see the name confirms. Now switching back to main window, bucket details, locating the object URL. So copy that and paste it in new window. So here you can see access denied. The error confirms this file is currently private, no IAM role, no ACL entry, nothing granting this test account permission. Now that we have proven this file is private, now I am in my main browser looking at our bucket, new bucket 1. I will go to the permission tab and click grant access. Here I am adding a new principal. This is where I type in the exact email of the account I want to grant access to, pravalika.testuser123. The same test account we just proved has no access. Next, I assign a role. I will search for and select storage object viewer. This grants read-only access to objects in the bucket. And I will save the binding. This confirms the grant is now part of the bucket IAM policy. Now let's go back to our incognito window, still signed in as the test account, and this time I will use the authenticated URL, not the public one, and there it is, the file downloads and open successfully, showing our employee data. Now because of the IAM role we just granted, access works. This is the proof. Now let's perform the same IAM operation using the command line. Instead of using the Google Cloud Console, we can use the Google Cloud CLI permissions. I will use the Google Cloud Projects add IAM policy binding command and specify the project principal and role. Once I execute the command, the IAM policy is updated. Now let's verify the policy using gcloud projects get IAM policy. This allows us to confirm that the required role has been successfully added. Now do the practical execution of IAM using the Google Cloud CLI. Here is my bucket, new bucket 1. It contains a file called mpdata.csv. Notice the public access setting says not public. So right now no one outside my project can read it. Opening Cloud Shell, I will use Cloud Shell and the Google Cloud command line tool for precise control over permissions. I will set 2 variables to keep things clean, one for the bucket name and one for the test user's email. And then a quick echo bucket confirms it's set correctly. Checking current permissions before changing anything, I check the bucket's existing IAM policy with get IAM policy. This shows me who already has access and what roles they hold. Now the key step, I grant our test user the storage object viewer role using command. This gives them read-only access to objects in the bucket, nothing more. Running get IAM policy again confirms the new binding in place. Our test user now appears with the object viewer role. Let's prove it works. First, I try to opening the file anonymously in an incognito window using the direct API URL as expected. Access denied. Now I try again, this time sign in as the test user using the authenticated download link. This time the file downloads successfully. And then granting a role is not the final step. We also need to verify that the permission works as expected. First, I will check the current IAM policy. Next, I will test the access using the principal that received the role. We should also test the negative case with a user who does not have the required permission. This confirms that we are not giving access than intended. So these are the steps to execute the IAM in Google Cloud Console. Now let's move to ACL or access control list. Here, as you can see, these are the 3 steps for executing the ACL in command line. Unlike the IAM demonstration, here we will work with permissions associated with a specific cloud storage object. First, I will check the current ACL of the object using the gsutil ACL get command. Now, I will grant read access to the required scope using gsutil ACL ch. The ACL has now been changed. I will check it again to verify the updated permission. And then we can also manage ACLs through the Google Cloud Console. I will open Cloud Storage, select the bucket and then select the object that I want to work with. From the Objects menu, I will open the Access or Permission section. Here I can add a new entry, select the required scope, choose the permissions and save the change. The permission has now been updated through the console. We can verify the result by checking the object access. Now that we have proven both the before and after states, let's do something just a important cleanup. I am back in the permission tab for new bucket 1, scrolling through the list of principals. Here is our test account, pravalika.test_user, still listed with the storage object viewer. Role we granted earlier. I will remove that role and there is the confirmation policy updated. Navigating back to the object, switching to incognito, entering the authenticated URL. Now let's go back to our incognito window, still signing as the test account. And there it is, forbidden error 403. The role is gone and access is denied again. This confirms the revoke worked. Now let's try the same thing using ACL instead of IAM. I will click Edit Bucket, which takes us into the bucket full configuration. Scrolling down to the access control section. Here are our 2 options, uniform which is currently selected and fine grain which is what enables per object ACLs. Let's select fine grain this time. And looking at the summary panel, it now confirms access control fine grain. I will save the changes and let it process. And now going back to our file and clicking edit access again. No more error. This time we get a real add entry button, meaning ACLs are finally unlocked on this bucket. For entity, I will choose user, meaning this grant access to one specific person. In the name field, I will type our test account, full email, pravalika.testuser123, and for access, I will leave it as a reader. This lets them view and download the object, but not edit or delete it. Switching to incognito, entering the authenticated URL, download begins. File open in Excel. The file open right up showing our employee data. Now let's quickly look at some common problems we may face during IAM and ACL execution. 403 forbidden error can occur when our account does not have sufficient IAM permissions. If an ACL command does not work, one possible reason is that uniform bucket level access is enabled. If a user still cannot access the resources after a permission is granted, we should verify that the role was applied to the correct resource level. So these are the common execution errors for IAM and ACL. Let's summarize what we learned today. We started by preparing our GCP environment and verifying our project and permissions. Let's summarize what we learned today. We started by preparing our GCP environment and verifying our project and permissions. Then we learned how IAM works and performed IAM execution through both the Cloud Console and Google Cloud CLI. After that, we moved to ACL and performed ACL operations using Google Cloud and the Google Cloud Console. We also verified our permissions, looked at common errors, and discussed best practices. The most important point is whenever we make a permission change, we should always verify it and test whether the access works as expected. This is the process of IAM and ACL execution in Google Cloud Console. Thank you for watching my video.